Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for this roundtable in celebration of Black History Month. Roundtable with young people and young adults and the future of our province. So it's so great to have you here. And we live in a province that we share with so many different people, from our Aboriginal people who are here to Europeans, Africa, Asia, around the world, and we just want to celebrate Black History Month as part of Alberta because you are part of Alberta, and sometimes we focus on the past, learning about the lesser known stories of the Black community, and that's important. But I also believe it's really important that we focus on the present and think about how Alberta's government can support Black Albertans now in our time. So there's no better way for me to do this than to learn directly from youth who, as I said, are the key to our province's future. And I'm happy to welcome all of the youth panelists this evening. Chisholm, and I might struggle to pronounce some of these names, but I'll do my best. Onigbula and Danielle Simon, Mario Enanami, Shike Orimolade, Justin Brown, and Tyson Rowe. Over the next half hour, each of you will give a Peachakucha style presentation, which is a format that uses 12 visual slides, and they're displayed for about 20 seconds each. And then after the presentation, we'll watch a video from Chevy Thomas, who participated in last year's Youth Roundtable. And then following these videos, we'll have time for a short question and answer period. We're also joined today by two of my colleagues from the Government of Alberta tonight, the Honorable Mohammed Yassin, Associate Minister of Immigration and Multiculturalism, and Casey Madu, MLA for Edmonton Southwest. So I'll turn it over to Associate Minister Yassin to say a few words.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Mohammed Yassin, MLA for Calgary North and the Associate Minister for Immigration and Multiculturalism. In February, we celebrate Black Canadians' contribution to our culture and to our community. What better way to celebrate those contributions and achievements than hearing from new young Black Albertans? So often, we celebrate the incredible Black Albertans of our past. It is incredibly important that we remember and celebrate them. But it is also very important to look towards the future. And that way, and that we highlight and learn from young people of our province, because you are our future. You hold the pen in writing the next great chapters in Alberta's story. As the Minister of Multiculturalism, I am so thankful that I get to hear from and collaborate with people from many different cultures and backgrounds. Many of these people have chosen Alberta as their home. I'm sure some of you on the call today have immigrated to Alberta, or perhaps your parents or your grandparents did. Black diasporas from all over the world enrich our communities and our province, both culturally and economically as well. I am looking forward to hearing your experiences and some feedback on how our government can better support you. You know, when I was a newcomer to Alberta, I wish there were opportunities like this to let the government know at a grassroots level what they could do to support young people. I'm looking forward to all of your presentations tonight and to a fruitful discussion. I know there is limited time on this call, but I hope that we can keep these conversations going because they are important. So without further delay, as I am very eager to get to hear from you, I will pass on over to my good friend, who I have an opportunity to know for the last couple of years, my good friend MLA Badu, for his remarks.
Thank you so much, Minister Yassin and Minister Orr. Thank you once again, Chisom, Danielle, Mario, Chike, Justin, and Tyson for being here tonight. I have had a little bit of a time to read a little bit about you, and I do want to thank you and commend you for all of your hard work and the trajectory of your life so far. I am excited, no doubt, to be here. My name is Casey Madden. I am the MLA for Edmonton Southwest, and I've had the privilege to serve as Minister of Municipal Affairs, as well as the Minister of Justice and Solicitor General for the province. And I can tell you that this province belongs to you. And at the end of the day, we are doing everything we can to make sure that we build a province in which all of us can succeed, in which all of us can feel respected. Prepare the province so that you can have the opportunity to live your full potential and to contribute to the greatest province in the history of our country. You know, those who came before us, like your parents who came before you, they worked hard, they made unimaginable circumstances, and they bequeathed us this amazing province. And all of the institutions have helped to build a great place for us to live, build our businesses, go to school, raise our families, and live our lives. So I am looking forward to your presentation tonight. And I want you to understand that it is important, as I said before, that government hears from their young people, because you are the future. We will run our own race, and our hope is to leave you a much more better province than we met it. And so that you can continue to build our province for yourselves and for the future. So I look forward to our interaction tonight. And I do want to wish each and every one of you a very happy Black History Month.
Thank you both for joining us tonight. And we do have a lot to cover tonight. So let's get started with the Peachakucha presentations. Rick Walters, the Director of Strategic Stakeholder Outreach for Culture and Status of Women, will help moderate these presentations. So Rick, it's yours.
Thank you, Minister Orr, Emily Madu, Minister Yassin. Thank you guys very much, and thank you all the young people who are here tonight as well. Again, really excited to hear your presentation. So, without further ado, let's get started on our Peachakucha presentations. 12 slides, 20 seconds a slide. Looking very much forward to our first and all the presenters. So Chisom, take it away with your Peachakucha presentation, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Such an honor to be here. My name is Chisom Yegula. I'm 21 years young, from Nigeria, born and raised. I moved to Edmonton in 2016 for college, and I'm actually a registered nurse currently. I love investing, I love financial education, I love having a good time, and I'm super, super excited to be on this panel today for Black History Month. So this is just more about me, but with images. I currently work in the NICU with premature babies, learning how to code, just, to increase my skills. I love financial education, and I'm a Black woman that loves to, enjoy life to the fullest. So the future me, I would like for future me to be a happy and thriving, financially independent Black woman. I look forward to growing as a businesswoman, investor, a world traveler, and positive contribution to the province of Alberta. and more pictures as well. Oh yeah, and not forget, I also look forward to having, you know, a healthy family potentially in future. But yeah. Next slide, please. So my role models, sorry, previous slide, thank you. So some of my role models, my parents would definitely take the #1 spot. They've raised me, they've made so many sacrifices coming to the province of Alberta to give me a better life, and they model what I like, you know, my future home to be like. I also really like Beyonce because she's a successful Black woman that promotes, you know, growth and all of that. And I also go after successful people as well as my role model. So what has had a positive impact in my life? Finishing college, that definitely gave me a lot of skills in the real world, learning how to trade my spirituality. And for negative impact, I'll say the pandemic, because I just miss how life was before then, you know, being able to hang out with friends, with family. And as a nurse, it's a lot of work in the hospitals. So that has also increased burnout and stress. So hopefully things get back to normal really soon. What social media has on as an impact, I tried to moderate my use of social media because younger me compared myself a lot to people on social media, which affected self-esteem. But on the good side is also a lot of opportunities on social media, career advice, business tips, and, you know, opportunities to make some good money. One thing I could change about the past, if possible, would be colonialism and slavery, just because it was super inhumane. And the effects are still prevalent in African countries and communities today. So that is one thing I would change if I could about the past. What I love doing, I love eating, I love trying new restaurants, I love cocktails, I love trying new recipes, traveling and having a good time with my friends. Next slide. Some more things I love doing. I love watching Korean dramas. I also like Nollywood, just some of them I like to watch. I love being in nature, meditating, just relaxing. TikTok is a very new social media app, and I really like that as well as trading. That's the stock chart. I really enjoy doing those things. I think there's one more slide before this one. Okay, yes. So what I think would have the most impact in the future, I think this was the last question, would be financial literacy. Because as a Black person, there's the wealth gap, investing gap, especially as a Black woman. So I believe financial literacy is one of those things that will make a big impact in my future and that of my family and my generation. Thank you so much.
Chisholm, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that presentation. Next up will be Danielle. Danielle, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
Okay, we'll start your slide right now, Maurice. Here we go. Danielle, go ahead.
All right, this is just my cover slide, so you can go to the next one if you'd like. So I'm Danielle Simon. I'm currently 15 years old, and I'm really heavily involved in the performing arts community, mostly as an actor, but recently as a director. I play 3 sports annually: rugby, flag football, which is pictured below, and I run track. I'm also a musician, and I play piano and sing in a youth band with a few of my friends every Friday night. I'm also a student who's attending St. Francis High School in Calgary. If you look at the picture below, those are my friends Sophia and Michaela. We're hosting an event with our French Student Council. And as I said before, I'm an actor, and I'm making my professional debut next week with Ghost River Theatre. I don't really have a set plan for my future yet, but I do know I want to go to university. I'm currently looking into 2 career paths. I'd love to be a creative director in the entertainment industry, specializing in lights and visual effects. I wouldn't mind being on stage, but that's mostly luck and a little hard work. My second path would be studying political science and becoming a lawyer or a political scientist who works for the government. Social justice and politics have become a really large focal point in my life, and I can definitely see myself continuing to be involved in those fields. My role models include Kendrick Lamar, Billie Eilish, and my parents. Kendrick Lamar is a rapper from Compton, and if you watched the Super Bowl this year, you would know that he is an incredible performer and is a huge advocate for social justice. Billie Eilish is a great singer and songwriter, and my parents taught me everything that I know and are some of the most humble people that I know. The introduction of music into my life at the age of 4 changed the path of my life completely. Everything that I do has music of some form, whether I'm acting or directing. It's taught me patience and hard work, somehow math, and has been the foundation for so many of my greatest friends. I suffer from an anxiety disorder, which affects my life extremely negatively, but also physically and mentally. Whenever I'm doing something, especially something I'm passionate about, I suddenly get a rush of anxiety and begin having panic attacks. However, with time and patience, I've been able to persevere through those things. Social media plays a massive role in my life. Pictured below are my friends Esne and Prissy. I use social media often to connect with them and other friends I have around the city. I also use social media as the main form of content for Youth Voice AB, a network I created with 4 of my friends to talk to educators and students about Alberta's education system. You can follow us at Youth Voice AB. If I could change one thing about the world, it would be dismantling all systems that include systemic racism. The number of branches and systems and organizations that Black people continue to fail in due to the racism is incredibly high, and I hope that we can change that in the future. Acting is something I've grown to love over the last 4 years of my life. Performing for people and seeing their emotions throughout the course of a show fills my soul more than anything in the world. And sports give me such a large adrenaline rush. It's a feeling I don't think I can replicate anywhere else. But because of COVID, I haven't given a chance to play many games. But throughout my years of junior high, I won 4 city championship banners. Traveling with my family is also one of my favorite pastimes. In the picture below, I'm meeting a kangaroo in British Columbia. He was so cute. Oh my goodness. I've also traveled throughout the United States and the Caribbean. And for the last 2 years or so, I've been committed to creating change in the performing arts and education system in Alberta. The picture below is from the Black Lives Matter protests in Calgary back in June of 2020. Gratitude is something I've been learning in my personal life. I'm so lucky to be alive and be able to experience my life to the fullest. Critical thinking is something I'm learning more so in my academic life. In today's world, it's becoming so important to learn and analyze the information you're receiving critically. And lastly, I'm a huge advocate for music education for students. Learning an instrument or how to sing is a great creative outlet, and I encourage everyone to try to include music more in their life. But that's all about me.
Danielle, awesome job, excellent job. Thank you very much for that. Mario, you're next on the list, sir. You ready to go?
All right, yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right, Mario, please go ahead with your presentation.
All right, that's just my name on the first slide, so you can go to the next slide. All right, my name is Mario. I am 18 years old. I am a brother. I am a son. I am in a family of 9. I am number 4, so I'm pretty much in the middle. I am a friend. I am also a student at the University of Alberta, studying commerce. I'm also a gamer. I love to play games. Right now, my favorite game is probably League of Legends. I am also a football player at the University of Alberta, and I also work at the restaurant downtown where I work as a host. Taking the next slide. What I want to be in the future, I want to be a father. I want to be a husband. I want to raise a family. God willing, I'd also like to play professionally. I want to play football professionally. And after that, I'd also like to use my degree in accounting to work as an analyst or an accountant in some organization. I would also like to work in the government. I love the idea of serving my community and giving back to Edmonton. Policing is also something I've been interested in. Just the idea of helping out the vulnerable in our community, something I always wanted to do. My role model is LeBron James. I just feel like the way he grew up is so different compared to other people. He grew up in Akron, Ohio, in a very violent community, and he came out of there. And now he created an I Promise school where he gives troubled youth the opportunity to learn and grow in a safe environment with no and all. Something that impacted me the most in a positive way is reigniting my faith in God. I think in the last 3 years, I was sort of drifting away, but just this past year, I found a community where I was able to reignite my faith and read the Bible with like-minded people and grow closer. Something that impacted me in a negative way was procrastination and just staying up too late. I wasn't able to do as well in school. I wasn't staying focused, and using my phone all the time wasn't benefiting me in any way. So I think that's something that really impacted me, especially in academics. So that's something I'm trying to work away from my life. How much of a role does social media play in my life? I'm trying to limit that. Right now, I think I use about 5 hours a day of social media. So that's something I'm definitely trying to get lower. Social media also has its perks, I think. I use social media to stay up to date on world news and everything going on around the world. So it also definitely has its positive perks. If I could change one thing in the world, I think it would be modernizing developing countries. I think if we even out the playing field, it would actually allow for more economic growth all over the world and no one knows what could really happen. We could probably advance as a human race much faster what I love doing the most that makes me the happiest is helping out in my community, which includes working in a food bank, which I've done a few times. I love playing football. I love being out in nature, just being at peace with everywhere, just being at peace out there with no voice, with no sounds, no outside noise. And it just brings me a lot to peace. I also love singing. I love hanging out with my friends, just going out, having a good time. I also love gaming. I love listening to music, especially EDM. I also love reading books. I think books just put me in a different perspective. And when I read books, it just feels timeless. Like time doesn't even go past. Of all the things you'll learn, what we like to do, I think critical thinking is something that's very important. I think in a world with a lot of information, easy to get lost without doing your own research. So I think if you have discussions with people and you form new ideas, I think it really helps with critical thinking. So you don't stay in a box, you actually expand your worldview. So that is my presentation.
Mario, excellent job, sir. Really great job. Really great job. Next up, Shike. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shike Armalade. And so currently I am a first-year student at the University of Alberta pursuing an honors degree in neuroscience. I chose to study this degree because I'm really, really fascinated by the brain and its complexities. I like to think of myself kind of like an explorer, but instead of exploring the world around us, I want to explore like our inner, more complex world. Outside of school, I'm an avid reader, with my favorite book being The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I am also involved in my home church, Hope City, here in Edmonton. I also sometimes work as a part-time beauty advisor at Sally Beauty Supply, and I currently volunteer with the Center for Autism Services Alberta, and I'm really enjoying that. In the future, I hope to be a great inspiration to Black girls around the world. I hope to graduate with my degree in neuroscience and hopefully become a medical professional. I also really, really want to travel the world and just inspire nations like Amanda Gorman. I also hope to create a beautiful family for myself and be very settled and be a mother. I'd also really like to have my own podcast in which I bring on successful Black women and women of color to talk about their stories and just inspire the next generation. I also would really like to make some revolutionary breakthroughs in the field of neuroscience that could benefit millions of individuals around the world. My role model, of course, is my mom, but then I'm also inspired by Black women who have paved the way for the next generation to come after them, namely Amanda Gorman, Michelle Obama, who remained dignified in the face of violent criticism and racism, and Maya Angelou, who was a poetic voice of change during some crazy civil turmoil in the US. What has impacted my life in the positive way would be being the valedictorian of my high school, because it taught me that hard work not only gives you success, but it also allows you to be at a position where you can represent and inspire. Definitely my wonderful family, my church, and the move my family and I made from England to Canada in 2014, because it taught me a lot about adapting to changes and how powerful that can be in one's life. In the negative way, of course, COVID-19, the difficulties of COVID are really evident, especially as a student. The isolation and confusion can really just make an already difficult degree 10 times harder, and feeling like there's no end in sight can cause a lot of anxiety. So that's been like very negative, but I'm hoping for better days in the future. I would say that social media doesn't play a big role in my life. I only really started using it in my final year of high school, which I know is like not the norm, but I think now I see it as a really great networking tool, because you're able to communicate with people that you maybe wouldn't have been able to meet. And especially like in a time of COVID, just being able to stay connected, I really value social media for that. If I could change one thing in the world, it would definitely be to positively impact disadvantaged youth who don't have access to education. I'm very, very passionate about education, and I think that we may not all be able to have access to the same level of physical freedom, but the liberation of our minds through education could really set a lot of people free from oppression, especially young women around the world. And what do I love doing? I love reading, and I previously mentioned my favorite book. I also love doing my hair and like experimenting with different hairstyles and protective styles and curly hair, and going to the beauty supply store and doing makeup for myself and for others, and developing my personal sense of style. I also love music. I also can't imagine life without it. I love Maverick City Music, who are a new age gospel group. They're really cool. And Chance the Rapper, he's just an OG. This coloring book album, it was just amazing. Beyonce, Rema, who's an Afrobeat artist, they all just like are so amazing and really inspiring. And then finally, of all the things that I'm learning right now, I definitely think it would be just communication. I think that I was a very shy young girl. So I'm just kind of coming into my own, learning how to talk to people from different backgrounds, different cultures. And I think that's like a really important skill to learn, especially in the medical field. And I really hope to learn ASL so I can communicate with an even wider subset of individuals. And that is all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was awesome. That was a great job. Justin, are you ready to go, sir?
Yes, I'm good to go.
All right. Justin, here you go.
All right, so this is just the introduction. This is my presentation. So my name is Justin. I'm 16 years old, and I'm an 11th grade student currently attending Renard School. That's the image you can see in the background. To some, I'm the youngest in my family. I'm pretty tall though, I'm 6'4". So if you looked at me now, you probably wouldn't be able to tell that I'm the youngest in my family. You can go to the next slide. So a bit more about me. I am a student who enjoys playing volleyball. That's the picture on the right. I enjoy watching basketball when I have the time. I enjoy doing trivia. That's the picture in the middle. And I love learning all things, but more especially about issues regarding race. A picture on the right is a picture taken from my COL presentation. It's like a learning conference at my school regarding race and racism. You can go to the next slide. So in the future, my career plans are currently geared towards either being a high school teacher or an actor performer of some sort, maybe a bit of both, we'll see. And these are things that I've wanted to do since I could remember. I don't know where I got these ideas, but they just sort of appeared, and I've been running with that ever since. I guess all things aside, when it comes down to it, I really do want to be someone who can help others in whatever I do, whether it is through being a teacher and helping students in the same way I've been helped so greatly. I would not be where I am today without the immense guidance of people whose behavior I want to most emulate. So I have a few role models, but two I've decided to pick today are, of course, my mom, who constantly inspires me through her perseverance and faith in God, and Chadwick Boseman, who's a prolific Black actor, best known for his role as T'Challa in Black Panther. Unfortunately, he died of cancer in 2020, but he definitely represents someone that I want to be like when I hopefully become an actor. So being enrolled in the Renard School is something that has been extremely rewarding for me. While in school, aside from learning curriculum, I've seen my dreams realized, I've made lifelong friends, and I've learned more about who I am from the staff and the administration team's emphasis on choice and serious fun. Prejudice, unfortunately, has hindered many experiences and decisions that I've wanted to make. When people judge me blindly because of my race or my age or other preconceived notions that they have, I often find myself disoriented and sort of forced to course correct my actions or plans. And I think it's definitely something that has impacted my life in the most negative way. Okay, so as for social media, I don't have social media, so I don't think it really affects me that much. However, of course, I do often sometimes feel out of the loop with my friends when they're outside of school. But I do believe that I have sort of dodged the negative side effects that most of the presenters today have sort of discussed that may come with social media. So I'm a self-proclaimed comics nerd. I always sort of think about what I could do with my non-existent powers if I could to change the world. If I could, however, I would like to increase other people's awareness of other people's issues. And I think that by doing this, issues like discrimination or neglect or hatred would sort of be minimized, if not completely eradicated. Who knows? When I relax after a long week, I enjoy watching movies. La La Land, Into the Spider-Verse, and Knives Out are some of my favorites. I read comic books a lot, and I dabble in games of all sorts. Sort of into Valorant, the video game right now, and I'll dabble in Scrabble or Monopoly if I have time and people to play with. On a more long-term side of things, I often find myself very rewarded when I do performing and helping others. Those are sort of why I want to go down the career path that I've earlier mentioned. I also love listening to music. Little Sims is probably one of my favorite musicians right now. She's a British hip hop artist, and listening to her music is also sort of very inspiring for me. I think that in my education, critical thinking is vital to understanding the world that we live in and the multiple sources that we hear all the time. Aside from education, I think that realizing the power that each of us have to sort of enact change and cause change is something that I've learned to sort of use in my own life. As Rosa Parks says on the slide, you must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right. And this is a quote that I have started to live by ever since I heard it a few months ago. So that's my presentation. Thanks for listening.
Justin, thank you very much. Excellent job. Fantastic job. Our last presenter tonight, Tyson, are you ready to go?
I sure am, yep.
Okay, all right. Tyson, go ahead. Stage is yours.
Okay, so my name is Tyson Peter Rowe. I'm just turned 22 years old, and I'm a fourth-year university student at the University of Calgary, and I'm studying economics. I also work part-time in insurance and have had the privilege of working with the Be the Voice program over the last year and a bit, trying to become a better mentor. I'm also on the football team with the Dinos, and so football has played a big role in my life, so I guess that's part of who I am. And then I tried to leave the half of the slide blank there because I feel like at this stage of my life, I'm still trying to figure out all about who I am and who I want to be. So that's a little symbolism there. As far as who I want to be in the future, some things I do know for sure is I want to be a good leader and someone who gives back. I put a picture of Mandela because I feel like he expressed good leadership characteristics in his life and had a huge impact on the whole world, really. And I also thought about who, I was asked a question a while back, how do I want to be remembered? Or what would someone say at my eulogy? And I feel like the best answer I could come up with is someone who stays true to their values. regardless of any situation, and it is just really uncompromising in my core values, and so that's part of who I want to be in the future, is someone who will stay true to what I really believe in. I also chose LeBron James as a role model. I feel like as an athlete, it's cool to look up to athletes for sure, and I love sports. And not only on the court is he fun to watch and phenomenal, but off the court, I feel like he's done a really good job coming from a hard place and never really been in any trouble, and has raised a good family, and just been a really good role model on and off the court. And this is some mustard seed. I too am a follower of God. I thought of the verse that says faith as a grain of mustard seed, and so faith has had a huge impact on my life. It really impacts every aspect of my life, and I'm sometimes it's difficult, but I know it's always had a positive impact for sure. And then for negative impact on my life, I'd say failure, the fear of failure, or self-doubt has really been an obstacle, and just a lack of belief, or a lack of faith for that matter. When that creeps in, then it definitely holds me back in things that I aspire to be, or things that I'm trying to do, and goals that I'm trying to meet. For social media, this question was interesting because I always tell myself it doesn't have a huge impact on my life, but it certainly does. It's where I get all my news. It's how I communicate with everyone. And I definitely spend a lot of time on most of the popular social media outlets. I think it's great because it's a great way to communicate and express yourself, and hear other people express themselves. But it also can be dangerous, like we've heard already tonight. And so it is something to be aware of. I should ask myself this question more often. If I could change one thing in the world, I think the best answer I could come up with is the way people communicate. I feel like people are better than I realized, and everyone is a lot of the problems that we see and have are because we don't understand each other. And so if there was a better way that we could all kind of just even recognize where you're coming from in your opinion, or your thought, or your idea, I feel like we would be in a much better place, and be able to meet in a happier place, and move forward together. And I think that would be huge. What makes me happy, or the happiest, is spending time with my family. I'm the youngest of 3 children, and my family means everything to me. In a world where there's a lot of uncertainty, and you don't know what a day will bring, I've always had a stable home to come home to, and I feel like that's a great privilege, and I don't even really fully understand how special that is. But they definitely make me happy, and spending time with them is yeah, really all I could ask for. This next picture is just of the ocean. I'm actually scared of the ocean. We don't know what's in there, but I do really enjoy spending time in warm places, and I guess it kind of relates to spending time with family too. We've had the privilege of going back to Jamaica, where my grandparents are from, and visiting family there often is it does make me really happy, and spending time in the sun. So this picture is just a representation of the warm places, and traveling, I guess, is makes me happy for sure. This last question, useful thing to learn today that will make an impact in the future. I think just learning how to listen is huge, and it's something that I do struggle with, and how to be an active listener. So if I've had a lot of work on it, and heard a lot about it over the last year, even with working with Be the Voice. And so that's something that I really want to be able to focus on, is just learning how to listen, and hear and understand what people are saying, and do maybe less talking and more listening. And that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for that. Chisholm, why don't I start with you? So based on what we just saw in Chevy's video, how do you see yourself represented in the community?
Well, thanks to more Black people putting themselves out there, like Shike talked about in her presentation, which I really like. We've had a lot of Black women and men pave the way for younger Black people like us. And it's so beautiful to see in the media today, so many Black people excelling at their craft, in the sports field, in the professional field, the political field, and, Chevy's video really stood out to me because in this, I don't know if I'm echoing. Is my audio fine? Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, perfect. I really like Chevy's video because that really spoke to me. In today's community, a lot of the times, especially, in school, in professional settings, we Black youth, we have to be more conscious of our attitude, of the way we carry ourselves, because there's just the prejudice, the preconceived, notions that like, oh, maybe Black women are being more hostile, they have a bit more attitude, or Black men could be seen more as, target. Honestly, it's just more so the way we express ourselves, right? So I love to see in the media Black people, Black culture being more normalized. Now it seems like Black people are cool, our slangs, our style is on mainstream media. So I'm really, really happy to see that. It makes me feel much more confident to be unapologetically Black, to bring what I have to the world, to show, to express myself. So yeah, that's how I feel about being represented in the community today.
Thank you, Chisholm. That was awesome. Danielle, same question to you.
Yeah, so I'm involved in multiple communities. It includes my school, the performing arts, and especially in the performing arts, the amount of Black performers, especially my age, are very, very minimal. And so in productions that I'm in, I'm quite often the only Black person and sometimes the only person of color. And even though it is quite lonely and it feels very isolating, I don't mind, because I feel like when kids or when people come see my shows and they see me in it, they will realize I can do that as well. I feel like being that trailblazer is an honor, as opposed to something that's gonna put me down. But in school, again, as a Black person, I'm a minority here in Calgary. I don't see myself as often, but in social media, I feel like Black people are getting the limelight more so, and starting to get more publicity on things they do and accomplishments that they make. And we're starting to recognize the history of Black people and start to promote it and explain why we are so important in our societies and why we have been the foundation for so many things in our modern society. Chevy, your video was absolutely incredible, and it really hit, because I feel the exact same way that you did, and if you continue to feel that way. But that's how I feel, and that's how I think I'm represented in my communities.
All right, Danielle, thank you very much. Mario, same question for you. Just how do you see yourself represented in your community?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've come a long way as Black people in society. I know a while ago it wasn't, when as youth, I was looking for role models. It was usually only athletes. You wouldn't see Black politicians or Black people in corporate America. You wouldn't see a lot of that. But now I think there's a lot of Black people out there in all walks of life who I as a Black youth can look up to and model my life around. And I think also younger youth can do that as well. I think it's gotten better for sure. I see more people like myself around. All Black people aren't all athletes or all rappers or things of that nature. I see a lot of educated Black youth now and Black people involved in all walks of life. So I think that's how I see Black people and myself in society today.
All right, thanks, Mario. Shike, same question for you, but with a little bit of a twist on it. One of the things that Mario talked about was, he said corporate America. And I'm wondering, because of the social media, because of our large partner below us by the United States, does that change being a Black person in Canada versus a Black person in the States? So those questions to you.
So I just want to confirm your question. You're asking like, what's the difference like in the experience as a Black person in America versus here in Canada?
Yeah, because it's so overwhelming, I guess, because what we get from the south of the border and all of the media and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a huge difference between being a Black youth here in Canada versus being a Black youth in America is that many Black youth here are children of immigrants. You know, we weren't descendants of slaves. So our experience is so different because our parents didn't grow up here. Our parents are from Africa or the Caribbean. And so a lot of the times we feel like we're pioneers in this country. We want to make our parents proud. And I think that comes with a lot of pressure because we want to make their move worth it. I think youth in America, I think a lot of them are lacking that sense of motivation. And a lot of them are, how do I explain it? They're a little bit more, I guess their role models aren't their parents. Maybe they're the rappers or the as Mario said, like the basketball players. I think the difference is the level of who's above us, and above us is our parents. And so that can cause a lot of pressure for them. It might be the rappers and the role models. So just I think the ultimate thing is to have great role models. And I think that's the important thing for the Black youth.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Justin, how about you? Question about how do you see yourself represented in the community based on what some of the things Chevy said in his video?
Okay, so like Danielle, I sort of took the answer to this question in a few sort of separate like paths. I see myself like first and foremost as sort of a student at my school, in which, you know, I'm the only Black student in my grade in grade 11, and one of 3 in my high school sort of section of grades 10 to 12. So for me, it's really important to sort of be as an individual as I can, so I don't, you know, put the wrong impression in people's heads, because I'm one of 3. So if I sort of mess up or if I fail, sort of as Shika was talking about the pressure that we have to sort of be proud as, you know, the descendants of immigrants rather than, you know, the descendants of slave owners, of slaves, sorry, who you know have lived in America for so long. There's for me a lot more pressure to sort of be myself, but also be a different version of myself depending on, you know, what the situation calls for, if that makes sense. I've applied myself wearing many different hats, you know, along in my school, in my friend groups, and those sort of things. And then from a popular culture sort of stance, since I don't have social media, I do think that you know, public perception and my representation in people that I see who look like me has definitely increased. I think of, you know, characters like Miles Morales, who has gotten a lot of recognition in, you know, video game culture and in like movie culture and in TV culture and things like that. I see a lot of like streamers and content creators who are Black and who are like very proud to be Black, and that's very motivating for me, who wants to lean more into the performative aspect of, you know, the professional life as because I want to be an actor. So seeing those faces and being able to see myself in those faces is something that's really motivating for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Justin. Tyson, what about you? Same question for you. How do you see yourself in the community?
Yeah, I feel like this is an interesting question. Well, first of all, I'm only half Black, and so I feel like that makes a difference. I don't relate in the same way as the others on this call, and I don't want to pretend to. It's not the same for me. It is different. I do feel like even growing up though, and still today, we're in a better spot, but I do feel like Chevy's video was saying, like, sometimes, yeah, I want to sag my pants. I feel like we're still it's still represented as someone who's sagging their pants and playing their music loud is going to be more violent. And so I feel like we still see stuff like that today, and how Black youth are represented. For myself and my own experience, it is a little bit different, and I feel like there's less representation for mixed people, not in necessarily a negative way, but just because there are less mixed people in the world. And so even for myself growing up, at times it was difficult to identify who I was and what I am, or especially because even my parents, right? I'm not white and I'm not Black. I am mixed. And so even in my own house, it's just my siblings, and we're all learning at the same time about who we are. And so, yeah, it's interesting, but again, I still feel like there's definitely been growth in how mixed people are represented, as there's more popular mixed people blowing up on social media and being promoted and being successful. And I think we're definitely trending in the right direction.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Tyson. Let me, a quick follow-up for you, Tyson. Do you feel that people put you in one category or another? Do they put you, is that taking away from one side if they say that you're Black, or if they say that you're white, does that take away from one side or the other side?
I don't know. I feel more often in my life, especially growing up through junior high and high school, I was told I'm not Black more than anything. I didn't really ever label myself. I am who I am, and that was it to me. I didn't ever really put much thought into it until other people started talking about it, and so I don't really know how to answer your question, to be honest. I feel like definitely my experience with and relationship with Black people and white people is very unique, because I'm close to both sides of my family now, and so that's different. But yeah, I'm really struggling to answer this question. I don't know, but definitely other people have tried to tell me what I am and what I'm not, for sure, through my life, and I don't really have a response to that. I am who I am, and whether you think I am something or I'm not something doesn't really, I guess, hold weight, in my opinion.
I think you answered that very well. I think you answered that as well as you could answer it, and that's in your way. So, and that was part of the question. So I really appreciate that. I don't want to, I know we're kind of running out of time here, but I want to get one more question into each of you before we go. I think this is probably one of those conversations that we could stay all night doing, but let me ask you this. Why don't we start with Danielle? You can go first on this one. How do you feel supported or not supported as a Black youth in Alberta?
I feel more so supported as a youth as opposed to a Black person in Alberta. I feel like there are an incredible amount of programs for youth, such as the program that invited me here, Ministers Youth Council. But as a Black person in Alberta, especially a young Black person, I feel like there are very, very, very few organizations, especially organizations that are for mentorships. I know one in particular in Calgary, the Calgary Black Chambers is a mentorship organization through law and through financial and so on and so forth. But those aren't fields I'm interested in. I'm a performer. And quite frankly, there are not many Black performers in Alberta, especially Western Canada at all. So feeling supported in that specific aspect, I don't feel so as much. In other aspects of my life, such as social justice or creating change, there are countless organizations I could list and I could name, including the one that I created with my friends. But it varies, especially if you're in the arts, trying to find a community or a program to help you as a youth in Alberta, a Black one especially.
Daniel, thank you. Thank you very much. Mario, same question for you. How do you feel supported or not supported as a Black youth?
The same, I think the same thing with Danielle. I think there are a lot of initiatives to support youth in Alberta, but in terms of being a Black youth, there might be initiatives, but I'm just not familiar with them. I haven't heard of them, I haven't seen them. So it'll be hard for me to find out where they are. I don't think they're easily accessible to Black youth. If they are available for us, I don't think it's easily accessible. So yeah, I don't really feel supported as a Black youth, but as a youth, for sure, definitely. There's a lot of opportunities for youth to apply for scholarships, bursaries, grants, to further education or athletics. So I think I'm supported very well as a youth, but not as a Black youth.
Mario, thank you. Thank you very much. Shike, same kind of question for you, except just a little bit of a twist to it. Do you think that they both mentioned, the first two panelists for those questions, that supported as a youth, but not necessarily as a Black youth? If you do feel the same way, can you tell me if it's important to have programs that support Black youth?
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. Like as a youth, totally, like there's definitely places I can go and ways that I feel that I can reach out for help. But the Black experience is so unique. And I'm sure everyone here can relate. Like being a Black young person, it's just completely different to just being a white Black person, even just a POC Black person. So I think it'll be so important if Blackness was celebrated in all its forms. And I think that starts honestly with education. And I think there is sometimes a lack of education in our school system on the Black experience, especially how the Black man came from, the African countries and migrated west and integrated into Canada. That's not taught in schools. And I think having discourse and just talking and educating about the Black experience can lead to the development of support for Black youth in the specific ways that they need it.
Awesome. Thank you, Shike. Justin, for you, how would a mentoring relationship be important to you as a Black youth in Alberta?
Okay, so the way I see mentorship is sort of, like, I guess, contextualized by my career paths. So the way I see it is I see it as like a twofold process between, you're doing a little bit of acting, you're doing a little bit of chameleon work by sort of improvising and sort of working your way through helping people, become the best version of themselves. But then also it's a little bit of teaching, it's a little bit of, personal growth, and you have to immerse people, the people that you're mentoring, into these new decisions, into these new roles in their life. And I think that, as a Black person, as a Black youth in Canada and in Alberta, as the previous panelists have said, I do think there is definitely a lack of mentorship for Black youth. I don't want to sound like a broken record, even though I feel like I already have. But yeah, I do think that supportive mentorship, would have to result in an increased sort of awareness for the issues that affect Black youth, not just youth in general. I think there needs to be a bit more influence from the Black community into mentoring our youth.
Justin. Chisholm, for you, do you agree with what Justin said, or do you have any? Just around the mentoring relationship being an important part of being a Black youth? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I absolutely agree with Justin, especially, just moving back to what some of the panelists have said. I remember Shike mentioned this, a lot of the Canadian Black youth are immigrant children, so most of us, like I remember I moved here at 16 to come to the University of Alberta. So a lot of the times that one-on-one mentorship is for Black youth, especially Canadian Black youth, is very much more culturally aware, right? It's more tailored. You have preferably someone, with a similar experience as you. It makes the transition process a lot easier, and it sets you up for more success, because this mentor, understands your experiences, understands whatever challenges you may be facing, and can potentially help you bridge that, right? Can provide you with resources, with advice, and I think that's going to be much more helpful in that sense.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tyson, for you, sir, what do you think a supportive mentorship program might look like?
That's a really good question. I feel like just a safe place to go for support is the biggest thing for me, as far as being supported growing up. Again, I'll talk about my family. If I had a rough day at school or a rough day at practice, wherever out in the world, I could come home to a pretty solid foundation, and whether they understood what I was going through, my parents understood or not, or could relate or not, they were ready to fully support me. And not everyone has that, which I think is, I don't know where I would be without that. And then even with that, I feel like I could still use more support from outside of my house. And so having a place to go where I can be heard, and even just an ear to listen to, not necessarily to give advice all the time, but having a place to go and be heard, I think would make a massive impact on Black youth in Alberta, for sure. Black youth all around the world, to be able to go somewhere and be heard, and be able to express themselves and feel comfortable expressing themselves, and then learn from people who may have similar or experiences, and just more wisdom and guidance to keep going forward and keep growing.
Tyson, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Chevy, before, again, like I said before, we could probably talk all night. I know this was scheduled for an hour, so I don't want to keep everybody too much longer. But Chevy, just some thoughts on you, maybe on the panelists and some of the things that they've touched on tonight.
Yeah, so I was, as Minister Orr mentioned earlier at the beginning of the presentation, I was lucky enough to be part of this last year. And so to sit here again and see a whole new group of people, young Black people with like very similar mindsets and looking to go and help create change and everything that is was so huge. And yeah, so I mostly honestly just want to say thank you guys for the opportunity to come in and just listen in on you guys' conversation, and hopefully one day maybe meet some of you guys, and and then go and continue to try to push for change like we all want.
Okay, thank you very much. So that does bring us a little bit of closure for the night. I'm going to pass it on to Minister Yassin for his initial closing remarks. Go ahead, sir. You're still muted, sir. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you very much, all of you. That was so incredible. This has been probably the most learning event for me as an elected official ever since I got elected. And I've gone to many events. So thank you so much to all of you, Jisham, Danielle, Mario, Shpia, Justin, Tyson, and Chevy. So such a learning experience for me. What I heard was I hope for the future, not only for yourself, but for everybody. The intellect, the creativity, collaboration, the positive thinking, all tracking towards making a difference, a positive difference for all of us. And I just can't wait when you guys, all of you, will have gone into practical life and the difference. I'm trying to imagine the world then as compared to now. I think it will be much. You will have improved a lot with your contribution that I can see, or in the works to be made. So thank you very much. And the young people in our province are so talented. That's what this event was all about today. And I made some notes here, but don't have time to go through all of them to individually, say a couple of words for all of a couple of lines for all of you. But I would like to say that you're so talented and creative. So I'm not surprised that they were so much good. But I am quite impressed, and I appreciate that you all took the time to be here with us this evening. I know many of you will go far and achieve great things. Perhaps some of you may be in a similar like this one today, but you may be missed it. And thank you again, and I hope to meet you all in person sometime again. I am from Calgary North. For those of you who live in Calgary North is just through my office. I would even love to sit with you here in my office and talk about things and how we can work together. How, if I can be of any help to you, I'll be so happy. And same goes for Edmonton. I am also Edmonton, and would be happy to meet in the night or wherever it's possible for me to reach out, to sit with you, to have a little chat, and I will buy you coffee too. So I'm looking forward to seeing you again. All the best.
Minister Singh, thank you very much, sir. And I'm going to make sure that all of them take you up on that coffee as well, sir.
Of course.
Emily Madu, sir, your closing thoughts and any words to the young people.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rick. This has been what I call a teachable moment for me as well. I am incredibly proud of each and every one of you. You have no idea. You are smart, you are resilient, and you know exactly what you want out of this life, despite all of the difficulties and the challenges of growing up as a youth, and even though as a Black youth in Alberta, in our world today. I can confidently tell you that given what I saw tonight, what I heard from you, that your future is assured. You are going to do well in whatever field that you have chosen. And it gives me hope that our province is going to be in good hands. It gives me an incredible amount of hope that we are succeeding to raise what I call responsible citizens. And I can't wait to see what all of you are going to do in the future. I am inspired to do more, to make sure that you have all the tools and resources, and yes, the environment to be yourself, to accomplish your dreams and to live your life in full. So thank you. The next event of this panel, the Rick, has to be in person. I would want to assemble all these young people in person so that the entire province can see. The province needs to see each and every one of you. They need to hear your stories. They need to see how incredible you are. And I want other young people to hear all these stories of resilience, of hard work, of that spirit to never give up, notwithstanding the difficulties of today. My own mantra as a person is that I have never allowed the difficulties of today to define my tomorrow. And you are the reason why I ventured into politics in the first place. You and our province, so that we can build a future together where all of us can succeed. So thank you so much, and good luck in all you do. Know that you have us, you have me rooting for you. And my takeaway is to go back and look into how we can make sure that the mentorship that all of you need are there for you. So thank you for tonight.
Thank you, Emily Madu. Great, fantastic words. So really, really, really passionate, and appreciate those sentiments. Absolutely. Minister Orr, sir, I give you the last words for tonight.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Rick. And truly thanks to each one of you for being willing to put yourself out, to take the risk to be real and honest and transparent about life. And I don't know. All I can say is that I think the Black community will do well with you moving forward. Yes, there's huge challenges to be overcome in all of our society, but you have the opportunity to define your world. And I'm sure that the Black community is going to do well with individuals like you being there and being part of it. With regards to mentorship, I do want to say a couple of things. I think there's two kinds of mentorship. There's life mentorship, which probably, as one of you said, needs to, maybe, well, actually, I think two of you suggested, needs to come from your own community. I just want to give you a little heads up as well. Pay attention to the news on October 28th. Unless things change, it'll be October 28th. Myself and the Premier are going to be making an announcement with a Black leader in Alberta to try and address some of that. But then there's also professional mentorship, and that's kind of a different kind of thing. And you can really only get that from people in the same professional field. So you have to look for that depending on where you land in your career. But excellent presentations. I look forward to seeing your contribution in the future. And if you want to participate in any of the other ways that the government of Alberta is recognizing Black History Month, you can follow us on social media. I know some of you say it's too much, some not at all, but it is there. There's a calendar of community-led Black History Month events as well on alberta.ca. And you know, I really think I do also need to say thank you to all of the parents and to the broader community. You see tonight from our panelists that the work you're doing is good work. It's having great results. Thank you for your contribution in the lives of your kids. I'm sure it must make you proud to see what they're becoming and what they're going to contribute to Alberta. You've raised very capable and passionate people as well. And without a doubt, they, with you, will continue to lead our communities and our province into a much brighter future. And I guess if I could say anything, last thing to those of you who are panelists, keep your heart pure, keep your faith strong, live by positive vision, and never, ever give up. So thank you, all of you, and have a good evening.